Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another Nerdy Volume podcast episode. We got a new one for you. It is on Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. So let's get into it and so Spider-Man. I guess it's weird that you to call it Spider-Man, especially since Tom Holland's movie is also Spider-Man.
So many Spider-Man.
There's a lot of Spider-Mans going on. I think this is the first era where you can see more than one Spider-Man movie coming through. I mean, I even hear that Andrew Garfield's movie might get a third one, The Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, really?
It's a rumor. I don't know how much of it is true yet. Though.
Huh. Okay.
Exciting, right?
Yeah. I liked him as Spider-Man. I thought he was good.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And I think this Spider-Man is actually a very refreshing version of it. Being as I mean, it's obviously from another I guess universe if you want to use technology, and it's really just it's another way to view him or to view Spider-Man. And so anyway, we got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is directed by Hakeem Dos Santos and written by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. And of course, we have from the originals coming back. For Miles, we have Shami and Haley Steinfeld coming back to reprise their roles. And to be honest, like I didn't know what to expect for this show. I mean, because every Spider-Man movie is a coming to age film. Everything, like even Tom Holland one, like the first was it Home?
Yeah.
That was definitely his age. He's like that's where Iron Man's like if you are nothing without the suit, then you don't need. That was kind of like oh yeah, deserve to be the hero before you could just say that you're the hero.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Miles in this movie where he has been Spider-Man for a while now. I want to say like maybe a couple of years. Maybe?
A year.
A year?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So it must be super fresh with you because I was like but
I just watched it.
yeah. So it's super fresh. So it's been about a year, and he's gotten taller. It looks like he's been taller. Still kind of like petite for a teenager, especially with his dad's build. See how big his dad is? He should be the same. I mean, granted, he's probably only 15, maybe.
That's exactly how old he is.
Yeah, so he's 15. So, give him like 2 years and go to the gym. He gonna be like his daddy for sure. Anyway, you see Miles kind of just figuring things out that okay, to save everyone now. It's just my gig, and I can't tell my parents. I'm afraid because it could put them in danger, or they could see me one that is a potential threat. Just like how actually, I always thought that people would marvel at superheroes, but no, like the average public today. I mean, granted, we have movies and whatnot, but you see a cool and all, but it's also very scary because if a hero is anything like a human, they can get mad, they can get angry, they can get petty.
Yeah, that's true.
Greedy, like that. I think that's what sets heroes apart from just the regular Joe Schmo. So you get to see Miles just kind of emerging into this superhero that he's now taking the mantle from, and so it was definitely not what I expected. I thought he was going to be like fighting more people. I thought it was going to be like a main enemy, but is actually, and oh yeah, especially with the trailer. I don't know if you guys saw the movie yet, but if you guys haven't, spoiler. I'm also going to bring up the trailer. So if you haven't even seen the trailer, turn this off.
If you haven't seen the trailer, I don't know where the heck you've been.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen the trailer, there is actually if you haven't even seen the TikToks, there is a ton of spiders after Miles. Okay,
a lot of them.
And at first, I'm just like, oh, what is it? Did everybody become like mindless zombies? Does this have anything to do with Doctor Doom? I don't know. I was just throwing stuff out. But the thing is, why did all these Spider-Men and women and animals and robots have to chase Miles? Like, what was it? What was the reason?
for the season.
Yeah, so I didn't have any idea why they would do that.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was. I mean, the trailers kind of like misled you a little because
Very much.
you really thought it was about him meeting all these other Spider-Men or Spider people, right? Which I mean, technically he's already done once before, but now it's like way more than they even thought. And there's a whole society of them, and it's like crazy. And then you have the Miguel, I think it was his name,
Miguel,
right?
yeah.
Who was like the leader of this Spider people society.
2099 universe.
Yeah. And so you think he's the bad guy because in the trailers, that's you see him chasing Spider-Man and saying, you know, whatever he's saying to him, and all the other Spider people chasing him because Miguel says so. But that is not really I wouldn't say he's the main villain. The main villain in this film is Spot, which is his arch nemesis in this version of Spider-Man, right? In what universe? What Earth does he live in? I forgot.
Miguel?
No. Miles.
Miles is in. It's messed up because I keep thinking of 42, but that's just from
The Spider is from 42. Yeah,
he
yeah,
isn't
yeah.
from 42.
No, he's not.
I think he might be 47.
No,
Or
I
47?
think he was like some thousand number.
Oh,
I think so. I write it in the comments, peeps.
yeah.
But yeah, so his nemesis is Spot, who's the actual villain of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I got halfway through this movie and we're still fighting Spot, and I'm like, wait, when is Miles gonna? I mean, not Miles. When is Miguel gonna show up and be like the bad guy in this thing?
Right.
And you come to find out, okay, he's just kind of like the side mission.
Yeah, like the
partially.
first one that you see. You know,
He's partially like a side mission. I don't want to disrespect him that much because he's definitely he's no like pushover or anything. He's, you know, and he's some kind of vamp spider person thing.
Oh, Miguel.
Yeah,
I mean, is he a vampire or a bat?
something like that? Something like that. He's Spider Bat.
Oh,
or
1610.
1610. Yeah, I'm like, I know it was like in the thousands. So yeah, so it was pretty crazy to start watching, and you're like, oh, this movie is going at all, you know. So that was pretty interesting. Yeah, but one thing I loved about Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, right, was the art. The art in this movie was beautiful. It was so great. And every universe had its own little tweaks to make it feel like either comic-y or cartoony, or I don't mean in like a bad way. I mean like you could tell what they were trying to go for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have like Miles's universe is very comic book driven,
and Gwen's was very watercolor driven.
Yeah, which was really dope. And then
you liked it? I didn't like it. I couldn't get into it.
You didn't like her.
World's art.
Interesting, because when I was watching hers, it's like you can tell her mood in the color that she was painted in, right?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
So it's like because when this one was opened, right, and she was the one talking about, oh, this is, you know, this happened to me, blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
The Spider-Man spiel.
Right.
I got bit by a spider.
Yeah.
And she's like, I feel, you know, I'm alone, but who isn't? Right. And all this other stuff. You green color the whole time.
Yep.
Every time she was speaking about that, and then when her father like asked for a pinkish color, right, which meant that she felt warmth or whatever. I that's how I saw it.
Loved.
Yeah. So like you could tell what color she was in, or what her moods were based on the color that was on her and around her. So I thought that was pretty cool. I enjoyed. I thought the watercolor scheme was pretty dope in my opinion.
Well, the beginning of her world, it wasn't like how it was the one where she asked for that, or the dad and the daughter finally kind of reconciled, and I didn't like how bloodied it looked. I mean, I get that it was all artsy, but it was dripping in the back, like that.
Oh, when she was talking to her dad,
after everything,
yeah.
And so when she did
that was so cool, because it was like the world it was like rating it felt like in her world because she's talking to her dad. Cool, and I saw the background start like fading or like
It was really bothering me that I could see the paint dripping behind her, and I'm like, because it looks incomplete. You know what I mean?
yeah.
When I see it, it's not dried yet. You know what I mean? And it just kind of reminded me a little bit of Ed, Ed and Eddie. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Like a lot of the art
Ed.
that when it came to their houses, whenever they went into their house, it was like super like just splashed colors and watercolors and watermarks. Now I love art. Don't get me wrong, and Spider-Man or this version Spider-Man is probably the best art wise in all the ones that's out that's animated, I guess, or I guess even in the video games, the Miles Morales movies have been amazing with the art. I just didn't like that one particular scene, and that was one.
You don't like her universe?
No, I don't like her universe at all. No,
too much watercolor.
Too much watercolor. But in the beginning, when she was in the band, the watercolor wasn't there. It just happened to be in her house.
Well, I think it was more, instead of watercolor, it was like splashes. So it's not. How do I even say how to? Because it was in her emotions, right? Her world, her universe is definitely driven by her emotions. Like you can tell what's going on in the universe because you could just look at her background and say, oh yeah, like aggressive paintwork or the world ending.
I wish I saw it like that. I didn't think
it was
like
pretty
that.
interesting. And here's the other thing, in Miles' world, the background is always blurry. Right?
Oh yeah.
So which is pretty cool, and they got the whole comic book scheme going on with the dots and like those that are like striations or whatever. So that was pretty dope. But I realized that his background was always blurry, and I was like, oh man, it's tripping me up. Like I was like, and when we get to this point, I'm like, how did I not see that? But I'll explain later. But I thought those were pretty cool. What was his name? The rock and roll guy.
Oh,
Hubert? No.
Hoodie, I think.
Hoagie
or Hobie.
Hobie.
Yeah,
Hobie. His was pretty cool too, because it's like it was comic books, paper, like newspapers and stuff that was like
from the 80s.
Yeah, it was all printed on him and everything. That was like something that I learned, or I watched the TikTok, and I wish I remember who the TikToker is, but he was talking about, and I would have never caught it. I would have saw something and I'm like, whoa, that's weird, but I would have never understood it. And this guy was talking about if everybody in the Spiderverse is animated in one scene. So every there's one scene per or how do you say it? There's one scene. No, that's not the word. What is the word I'm looking for? It has escaped my mind. How things are drawn. It's like click, 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 click.
Sketches?
Frames. That's the word. There's one frame per one frame for every action that they're doing, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But Miles is 2 frames for every action they're doing. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So the rest of the universe is moving faster than he is because it takes him 2 frames to do one action, right? Pretty cool. And so this guy, I'm like, how the heck did he even see this? I don't even know, but that was pretty dope. But what is even cooler, and I do agree, it was really amazing, is that Hobie, whatever his name was, Hobie is 3 frames for every action. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if you look at him, he looks like he's moving. He's skipping.
Yeah, it does look like it. Yeah.
Right, and it's because he has to go one more. Because he's an anarchist. He doesn't believe in following the system. He's against all that. That he goes even further than Miles in the sense that I don't even follow his frame rate. I go my own frame rate, which is even slower. And I'm like,
that's crazy to think because in animation, it normally takes 30 frames for a movement.
Well, 30 frames it depends how you put it in a second, right? So when you have 30 SPS is 30 frames in a second. But how many actions a person in those frames is what matters, right? You could either be like do, or you could go do.
Oh, I see.
You get what I'm saying?
That's...
And he was going do. right? Because it takes him a little bit longer to do it. So I was like, oh, that's pretty sick. I don't know how you have to have a mind of like a.
Oh, they used to do that stuff back in the 80s.
Oh well, I mean, yeah, I mean. Yeah. You're not gonna draw one action per frame, right? You're gonna draw, but like, because your mind just fills in the blanks. If you're going from here to here, your mind fills in the rest of it, right? So that's how cartoons were able to be made so easily. So that's I don't know. That was one of those things that I'm like I would have not noticed, and I'm glad somebody did and explained it to me because I would have seen Hobie doing his actions. I'm like, man, he moves weird.
Yeah, he did move different.
And I would have not caught why he moved weird. So
especially when he used his webbing.
Yeah.
Like he'd be like up here with his, or up here with his
guitar,
and then all of a sudden he's already doing this.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Right. Because it takes him 3 to do it. So yeah, that was the cool part. And I just everything was really dope. What is the Indian started with a K?
Actually, to remember all the names is tough.
Oh, you're telling me.
I think he was the one from like the India universe, or New India, or Mumbai.
Yeah, something like that. That one was pretty cool too. I liked his style. I loved his costume, right? And the whole style was really good. I enjoyed every second of it. This movie's pretty much Miles feeling lonely. Gwen feels lonely because they know that they both exist, but they live in 2 different universes and they can't be in the same universe together, so it just kind of screws up everything.
Right.
And Miles is going through that one period in phase now where he needs to keep the secret of being Spider-Man. Yet everybody around him who cares notices that he's keeping a secret, but they just don't know what it is, and they're frustrated with him, and he's kind of like stuck, which is every superhero's. It's like they're that moment in their lives that like I don't know what to do because I feel like I'm people down, but I'm also trying to do the hero stuff, right?
Which would be the coming to age aspect,
right? So yeah, there's that whole thing going on, and Gwen's dad finds out that she's Spider-Man, and he's a police officer. I don't know if you remember that from the first movie, but he's a police officer, and in her universe, I don't know if they explained it in the first movie because it has been so long, but in her universe, Peter Parker dies. And so her father thinks that she killed Peter Parker, which she didn't. But so once he finds out, he still wants to arrest her because he doesn't know anything better. And
he's
like,
shocked.
I think it's that he's been so consumed by wanting to catch Spider Woman, Spider Girl. I don't know what her name was. Gwen Spider
Woman, I believe.
I was consumed by that, and he wanted to do it. And even when it was her daughter, his own daughter, he's like, I don't know what else to do but arrest you because I'm a cop.
Yeah.
And I'm
gonna take you in,
right?
Because that's the best thing to do.
That's all I know. That's all I know. But she went into verse because that's where she meets Miguel, and I forgot the lady with the bike.
I thought her name was Helen, but I'm not sure.
You might be right. But yeah, I'm really bad with names, people. But that was pretty dope. So so she goes, and then
Jessica.
Was it? Wow, you're totally off. If it was,
I thought it was
from Helen to Jessica.
Yeah, just Jess because I called her Jess.
Jess. Oh yeah.
I was like, it wasn't their like full name, and in the cast they give them their full names. I was like, if you're gonna do a cast, and that's where information gets taken from. Use the one that's commonly used in this show.
Right. Well, I guess makes.
Yeah, I believe.
Right. So.
I believe so.
But yeah.
I think I was more surprised at Miguel's character, Spider-Man 99, where where he's actually the whole pivotal point of why the Spider-Man and women and animals went after Miles. You just see that he made a mistake. And what does he do? He takes it onto himself to solve these mistakes. But ultimately going up against other, I would say variants about it. Like, because Loki.
I was just thinking about that.
I think about Loki about it. And
he's like the Spiderverse version of that organization, right?
Yeah, it's at the Time Bureau.
Yeah, the Time Bureau.
And this is also a big spoiler. So we're gonna get deep in this, okay? So Miles, we have already confirmed that all of the universes are connected.
Right.
Even the Spider-Verse, the Spider-Verse is connected to the MCU, 100%. Why? Because we saw Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
Right, we did.
We saw Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We saw those two Spider-Man. They have different scenes show up. They were different versions of the same Spider-Man, and there's a bunch of different Spider-Mans all over.
You know who you didn't see though? Spider-Man.
You did? Oh wait.
No, I mean, unless I missed it, I don't remember because I was looking for that.
Because apparently they forgot.
How do you forget the most recent Spider-Man?
Because of Doctor Strange.
Oh,
yeah. Everyone forgot.
You know that, but
it makes
forget Spider-Man. They forgot that Tom Holland is Spider-Man.
Right. So
They-
Tom Holland, they're gonna show a Spider-Man.
Yeah, but the
And they
Spider-Man
did show the Spider-Man that jumped off of out of the New York building. That, remember his new suit, the really shiny one? I'm pretty sure that was in there, but there was a whole.
You know what? I think that's a pretty good theory, but I would imagine that all the Spider people would know that he's Spider-Man, even if the rest, because only his got that he was Spider-Man.
Everywhere forgot it. Because remember when they cracked it, and he's all like, no one's gonna remember.
You might be right. You guys let me know if
Maybe
if
I could be wrong.
Tell me if
Let
you
me
feel
know.
is correct. He's I'm leaning towards that. I think it's
it
a
makes
valid
sense.
reason, right? It's like, where's Holland, man?
Mhm.
But
They even had the cartoon ones.
they
in
did.
there.
Yep.
And I'm like, yo, that's awesome. And they the other Tom Holland possibility world puller, Childish Gambino or Donald Glover, who is Miles' uncle in real life, or in the live action.
In a live act. You know the story behind that? Another TikTok video that I watched, which
I don't know the story. No.
super crazy. Like, man, I don't know why I watch all these TikTok things. Such great information. I know these people's names, but I just watch them and then I'm like, oh, that's cool. Because so I believe, now I could be, I'm not gonna get it completely right, but Childish Gambino or whatever his real name is, I only know
Donald Glover.
Yeah, Donald Glover in the Community.
Yep.
Right, Spider-Man in there, or he dressed himself as
Spider-Man, yeah.
And then everybody wanted him to be Spider-Man, but then he didn't become Spider-Man. So this whole thing came about that he wanted to be Spider-Man, but he didn't become Spider-Man in any kind of live action / cartoon of any kind, right? So eventually, I think he came up with fine, then just make me the Prowler. Right, and so that's why he is the Prowler in this.
I didn't know that.
Because he couldn't be Spider-Man. And
Was he too old or something?
No. I think it's because he was black. He wanted to be Spider-Man, not Miles,
You
but
wanted to be regular
the
Spider-Man.
regular
Oh.
Spider-Man.
guess
But
normal Spider-Man.
Peter Parker Spider-Man. But if you kind of think about this, is the genius, and this part I just thought about it while I was watching. I'm sure everybody else thought about this too. He couldn't become Spider-Man, so he became the Prowler, right? Well, Earth 42, my Spider-Man, because his spider he became the Prowler. So it's the same person. Well, I'm not saying that Childish Gambino is
That Miles.
my right, but I'm just saying that the live action universe, World 42.
That is a great.
In both cases, if you get rejected as
Wow.
Spider-Man, you become the Prowler.
In Miles's case, in Miles's different
Right.
universe. And so because there's
Right,
You know what I mean?
You can't have all these Peters and not have enough Miles.
right. I mean, the pig's name I believe was Peter.
Now I will say that I think it has to be in the sense that because if Peter Parker doesn't become Spider-Man, then it seems like in the universes where there is a Miles then becomes Spider-Man, right? Because not every I wouldn't say every universe has Spider-Man, Peter Parker and Miles in it. Because not all the universes have Gwen in them, right? Miles' universe doesn't have a Gwen.
Miles' universe probably does have a Gwen. Because Peter. And I don't know if MJ was there. I don't know if Gwen was there. But Gwen is ultimately the same age as Beatrice.
You might have a point, man. I'll say it again, man. I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. Multiverses are complicated.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? Very little.
Yeah, you might have a good point there. At least in these two things, I feel like Glover, might be in his action, or he could be the uncle. But I don't know if he'll be because the uncle and he looks kind
Definitely the uncle in the MCU.
So.
Well, because he's the uncle in Tom Holland's world.
Oh, wait, he is.
Yeah, Donald Glover,
You're
aka
right.
Charles Gambino, is in Tom Holland. That's why I said
You're
that's
right.
the other tie-in to Tom's.
No,
world.
you're right. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
That was part of the thing that guy was talking about, and I totally
Yeah.
forgot about that part.
He got hands to his to his trunk. He's like, "Hey man, it's my nephew's birthday." That's what he said.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it is. That's what the guy was saying, that he was the uncle in the Tom Holland one, right? But he doesn't really become the Prowler in there, so they made him the Prowler in the.
And it makes sense. Steinfeld is Kate Bishop, by the way, in the Hawkeye show, and she's also the voice of Gwen. So that's kind of funny. I mean, there's a lot of things going on in the MCU that doesn't make sense right now. You know, Kraven is coming out, or Craven.
Yeah.
So Kraven, the guy who plays Kraven, is the same actor for Quicksilver.
The,
Guy from
yeah. Which of the two? Because there were two Quicksilvers. The one from the X-Men.
Not from X-Men.
Okay.
The one
Okay.
from
Okay.
the
The one who
MCU.
died.
The one who died. Yeah. Pedro.
Wanda's
Pedro.
brother.
Wanda's brother. Yeah. So he is Craven. I want to say Craven.
So you put him in the same universe again.
Maybe we
as
don't
a
know.
different.
It could be like a standalone, like Vin Diesel's character. Vin Diesel's one character. I don't even remember his name. One like it's got red and whatever. Yeah, Vin Diesel was in a Marvel. So it was almost like a Blade spin-off. Like I believe he's the character from based off of Blade. But don't.
I have no idea which one that is.
I'm not really
I'm
sure.
not even,
I haven't seen it in a
don't
long
know
time.
what you're talking about.
Well, don't worry. If you haven't seen Vin Diesel's superhero movie, then yeah, you probably won't know what I'm talking about. But I believe that, and so Craven is Pietro, and the dad or the one who played Craven's dad is Zeus, Thor, Love and
Russell?
Thunder. Yeah, Russell Crowe. Dude, I'm like,
why would you do that?
I don't know. If they're in a different universe, then that's fine, right? But not for a god like Zeus, because that dude. No. There's other gods in different universes. There's only so many people that can travel between the multiverse.
I would imagine a god can. I don't think a god is restricted to their own universe. They have to be multi-universe.
Right.
Which you're not much of a god. Well, then again, I guess Thor is technically a god, and he's not very good at it. He can't be in multiple universes.
He can't be in multiple. Well, if you remember Ant-Man. Ant-Man talks about how many Avengers he's killed.
Yeah.
He's killed
Kang.
He's killed gods.
Yeah. True.
Killed
everything.
Everything. Like
Everything and everyone.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, oh dang. So he's like, it's not his first rodeo, and I think that we won't know. Oh man, you're so right about the whole multiverse and trying to tie everything together.
Like it starts to hurt too much.
Yeah, the theories go wild.
And I think the question is like, what connects and what really doesn't? Because technically speaking,
Spiderwebs apparently.
Well, yes, true. Technically speaking, because Spider-Man, as much as it's owned by Sony, it's not at the same time in the sense of its origins, right? It's Marvel, and you just showed 3 people. You showed Glovin, who was in Tom Holland's Spider-Man, so that automatically connects you to that universe, right? So it's like, what is really in the multiverse and what isn't in the multiverse? Are they 2 different multiverses that are just simultaneously happening at the same time, not actually connected to each other in any way? Are we just thinking too deep into it, too much? And as they would say, what's canon and what's not?
Nothing's canon, or everything's canon these days.
True.
And so and we going back to Miles. I mean, I know that we're trailing off, but
there's too much.
There's just so much to like kind of dive into. So we look at Miguel and his character. His character was warped because of what happened to him. He made a mistake, and like I said earlier, he took it onto himself to fix these mistakes. He's like, there's too many anomalies, and then he blames Miles being the main anomaly because apparently it's Miles' fault for all of these things. It's Miles' fault that he got bitten by the
Spider.
universe spider. And in my head, I'm thinking like towards Miguel. I'm like, really, bro? His fault that a spider so happens to be where him and his uncle, whether the spider was there or not.
Right. I mean, if you want to blame anybody, it's the Spot's fault because he's the one who caused the rift originally.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. So it's
It's the whatever the scientist's name, because I don't think they mentioned his name in the second one, and if he was in the first one, I do not remember to the life of me. Right.
I don't remember him in the first one at all.
Yeah. But so the Spot's so the Spot is the main nemesis because, and he's the one who says, "I made you." He's talking to Miles. He's like, "I made you. You're the only reason why you exist is because I opened a rift, which brought the spider from Earth 42 into this world, which bit you, right? Which then you caused the freaking collider, whatever, electron scope thingy, I don't know what you call it, exploded, which caused him to become the Spot, right? So, but it's technically his fault. Not Miles is just a kid, man.
Miles was just there.
He was
like,
just there.
imagine if the Prowler got bit by it.
Right. Oh my God.
That would have been the Spot. It would have been trouble.
Yeah. I mean, just look at Earth 42, and you'll see what happens when there isn't a Spider-Man, right? Which he eventually goes to, on accident, because Miguel has a machine that can pretty much send people back to their universe by collecting their DNA.
Their spider DNA.
Right.
Yeah.
But what they don't realize, which I don't know how you didn't think of that, but his spider DNA is of Earth 42 because the spider that he bit him was from Earth 42. So that's where it sent him. In that universe, his uncle survived, and his father dies instead, right? Which caused him not to become Spider-Man, but caused him to become the Prowler, right? Now the question is, the Prowler because your father, the Prowler because your uncle influenced you, because his uncle isn't good in any way. I mean, he's always
his biggest influence.
Right. So that's the question, because if in all, well, not the
and
other,
because his dad died, his uncle was the only one there.
Right.
And although the Prowler did some bad stuff, he still took care of his own, which is very important to a young kid.
True. But he was still bad.
He was very
bad.
And which
in
is
that
surprising.
universe,
I was like, did his mom let him do that?
I don't think she knew.
Yes,
and what's cool about Earth 42, which was pretty dope, that if you look at it, everything is purple. Like the backgrounds are purple for like Prowler purple, right? And I was like, oh, that's pretty sick, right? So that was another thing. I enjoyed just going into these different worlds and seeing how they reflect what's going on in them. So like that was pretty dope too.
I think the India his name was Paviter.
Oh, okay.
Paviter, and I can't even say his last name. It's like Prabhakar. It's almost like an Indian version of Peter Parker. But the reason why
I see that now.
The reason why I brought him up, and was reminding you the name is, I was watching on TikTok, and I did a little bit of research on like what people thought was a cool Spider-Man, and that guy I don't know what that instrument was in his hand. He had some kind of instrument that would wrap around.
It's a toy.
Is it a toy?
Yeah,
I thought it was a yo-yo at first, but it's not.
It's kind of like a yo-yo, but usually if I know what it was, I don't know what the toy is called, but it's usually you have two sticks and a string in the center, and you see like people juggle with them.
I've seen that
and they like catch it and they like that's what it was.
Oh, okay.
That's what the thing was.
And so his limbs were the sticks, and the webs
was the string.
Was the string for the toy, and it looked so dope when he would use it. He would use it as a foothold. He would use it as a weapon. He would use it as something to like in between to give leverage to.
It kind of reminded me of I don't what do you call it? Man, I don't know anything about anything. I just know what they look like. The ninjas used to use it. It has either a blade on one side and a weight on the other side, and it's connected by a chain, and they like kind of like fling around their body. Kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know what
exactly.
I don't know what it's called though, but
yeah, because in Shanghai Noon with Jackie Chan, Shanghai Noon, he uses that kind of weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. and I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. Like the legs, and then he kicks it out, and it shoots
Yeah,
off.
yeah. With the toy,
The shuriken or the toy thing.
the top. It was like a top.
Cool. Like he was.
It was cool. I enjoyed it.
I'll watch his movie. Spider-Man.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was great, and what we find out is that what Miguel is trying to stop is people messing with the canon, right?
Yeah.
And what he means by that is that every Spider-Man or Spider-Person, specific things need to happen to you for you to become Spider-Man, become a better version of yourself, and so on and so forth, right? And each Spider-Man or each Spider-Person to be Spider-Person, someone could die. Usually your Uncle Ben, version of your Uncle Ben, right? And in case it was Peter Parker who died, although she was already Spider.
A lot of these people needed the first person to die.
Them to get to that, and then the whole, then a police officer that's close to them has to, a captain, right? Which is which was what pissed off Miguel, was that universe.
Save the captain.
Yeah,
the girl,
Miles saves the captain and the girl, but the girl was gonna live anyways. The child was gonna live anyways, but the captain had to die saving the little child. But Miles saves them. There's a rift in that universe, which actually started, like, a hole started appearing out of nowhere. So that kind of tells us, like, a police officer captain close to you has to die for you to continue, right? And it showed Garfield's version where Gwen's father dies. And kind of like that's when it clicks. It's like, wait, my dad's about to be a captain, and they're like, yeah, your dad kind of has to die, and that's when he's like, oh no, I gotta go save my dad.
Right. And then
obviously,
like,
no, you can't, homie. It has to happen. And he's like, no, it's not. It's not gonna happen. So that's why the trailer part where you see Miguel and all of the other spider people chasing him, is that they're trying to stop him from trying to save his dad, but then he gets transported back to what he thought was his world, but it's not. It's 42. And all the rest of them go to his world thinking he got transported back. Which I don't know if it's DNA. You literally said you're an anomaly because you got bit by. It wasn't from your world.
Miles didn't. I think that was the only reason.
No. But you would think that Miguel and the spider people that went with him would have known to go to 42 because they knew that that's where his DNA was going to send him.
They're in his 16.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I
was like, why did you go to the wrong universe?
It's because they see him as Spider-Man.
That's true. I guess that's right. It is. You might be right.
And you know what's funny, or not even funny, and strange, is that none of these Spider-Man stopped. They all after Miles.
Yeah.
Because Miguel said to.
Yeah.
And it was to save his father. And I can guarantee you, every one of those Spider-Men gave that. Every single one.
True.
I think the ones that were there chasing him were the only ones that
already.
So that's why when I thought we were the good guys, I was like, that is the best line I've ever heard in this in video. Or in a scenario where you're chasing after a superhero trying to save someone. You know, if you take away the person who he's saving, all these Spider-Man is stopping Spider-Man to save someone.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, if someone were to say that, if I was just watching a Spider-Man running away from a bunch of Spider-Man, you would think that he was a Spider-Man or something like that, right? And then when you hear about that he was trying to save his dad, doesn't it make that entire group bad people? And then when Gwen said, "I thought we were," and I'm like, and then Miguel had to scream it out to all the other Spider-Man. He's like, "We are." He knew that what he's doing sucks. Right. That's why he's so jaded. He's hurt, and he knows that this is gonna hurt, and he doesn't want another mistake. But he blames Miles for everything, as if Miles had anything to do with it. Miles is just being a child.
Well,
damn Miguel.
Well, once again, it's definitely the whole holes. Is that his name? I forgot what the bad
the dot. Yeah.
Obviously, right?
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for, if that whole situation didn't occur, that the multiverse would have never been, or the Spider-Verse would have never been opened, right? Because I see where Miguel is coming from, but his anger is pointing at the wrong people. And it's like, homie, you didn't have kids to begin with. That wasn't even your daughter. It's like
Spots.
Spots. That's what's his name. Yeah. It's like that wasn't even your daughter. Why are you pissed?
Yeah.
You took that Miguel's spot when he died.
Yeah.
It's like, I get it. You wanted a family or whatever. But yeah, no.
He
So
didn't know he wanted a family or needed one. Miguel is a trip, but then again, I get it because anybody who kind of goes against his thinking, they're young, they don't know yet. That's why a lot of those Spider-Men and were going after him. When they were going after him, they probably already lost it. They're like, yo, I've become better. I've saved my world many times.
Right.
You know, they probably kind of justice. Like, I know it's gonna hurt. Trust us. I saw as some of the other Spider-Man. I was just, why are they chasing this young boy trying to save his dad? I guarantee you, they all had that same idea.
I'm sure that, I mean, in the moment you do, but I think they also understand that to some degree he can't try to save his father. Happen, and if you mess with that, you start messing with the fabric
Reality.
of existence. Of reality, and that's what their fear is. It's like
That's why I think Miles is gonna meet Loki.
Live action Loki.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be crazy.
Because only Loki can adjust things like that. Because the only reason why it breaks the laws of reality is because it's the timelines that break. And if you remember Loki's world, Loki's one timeline, because he destroyed the king or the man at the end, or I forget his name.
Kang the Conqueror, either way.
Loki, or our universe's Kang died. Yeah, he died.
Good luck with
my goodness. And because he died, the time continuum started to separate, and because they separated, it created different pathways or different scenarios. So, like, if me going off the 95, I took the 15 still. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's two worlds now that goes where I take one world,
But then the question is again, is that universe actually entwined with each other? I mean,
they have to be.
I'm just making the argument.
But then again, because
crazy.
Why did Miguel's world or the girl's world that Miguel tried to save, why did that get destroyed?
That's
the
the question.
entire the universe got
universe got
it got destroyed, and it's that, and it's not Kang.
What? Hey,
Kang is a huge anomaly. I'm gonna just say that right now. You know, I don't what's going on with Jonathan Majors. I hope it does kind of like.
Oh, I think he won.
Did he win that?
I think he did.
Because man, I really wanted to see how they're gonna do this with Kang, because Kang is an absolute menace. You know, he is a menace, and it's not just the one that we saw in Ant-Man. Pharaoh one, that's the main one. I don't know if anybody knew that. And dude, it'd be so cool to see Miles turn into like a live action
of himself.
Yeah, I'm like, who would they hire? Who?
Man, it's gonna be crazy.
Maybe Donald Glover.
Hey, why not? Hey,
but then again, I don't know. You're getting older. You know, you're getting older. Though he still looks like he's 19.
Yeah,
he looked like the same age going into the community, going out of the community. You know, I believe he left season 3 or 4. I watched all of Community. Still waiting for the 6th movie. Huh? You guys. No, okay. Anyway, so was there anything else that we were missing as far as Miles? So Miles, throughout the whole show, he was definitely having issues whether to come toward or come out to his parents about being Spider-Man, and to try and help Gwen. And then when Gwen knew that his dad died, all of a sudden his respect for her was really high, but his love was very high. So when she knew about what was going on, she knew that he was an anomaly. The love went out, and then when she knew about the dad, when she was chasing whatever, that the trust left. So he, like, everything just dropped, and I'm just like, dang. And then he's just like, yeah, and I'm good. I'll just be me. And when he did that, I was just like, it reminded me a little bit of Killmonger, or I guess Michael B. Jordan's. You know, I was just like, no, I got this. I can do this myself. I was just like, yeah. I was like, Miles is growing up. How old is he? You sure he ain't 18? I was just like, yo, this kid ready to move out on his own. You know what I'm saying? I think he make all kinds of money. But I was just like, Miles is growing up to be such a grown person, you know, and how he didn't have to. He's like, I don't know why I have to listen to any of you. Is basically ultimately what he said in the end. I was like, you're absolutely right. You know, you're a superhero in your own right. It's not
Of
like,
your own use.
yeah, you have to protect it. Comes with the job. Everyone else that they're just afraid of what will happen. Like, obviously, you
To
don't
all
know.
the other universes.
Right. I was like, you obviously don't know what will happen in the other universes, and you don't know what will happen to your universe. But still, Miles he has a good head on his shoulders.
Well, and I would make the argument, because he's the first anomaly, as Miguel puts it, right? Technically speaking, canon doesn't apply to him then, because he's already affected how his universe runs. Canon shouldn't apply to him. Yes, his uncle died, right? But it doesn't mean that his father should die trying to save the child, right? Even if he saved his universe would collapse on itself because of it, right? Already an anomaly that should have that his world doesn't follow canon anymore. So I'm just saying, I don't think Miguel is looking all the way forward. But I'm trying to there was something I was gonna say now that I mentioned I was gonna talk about now before, if that makes any sense. But it was about the bounds and stuff, the universes, how they change, right? Hers was like watercolors and everything. His was blurry. When he went into 42, it should have been obvious that it wasn't his universe, his world 16. What is it? 1620?
1610.
1610. The reason was background was blurry. In his universe, the only thing that's in focus is the person that's talking.
Oh, I didn't realize.
The people that the camera's looking at, people are in focus. It's all kind of right? But in 42, when he was in there, it was not out of focus. It was still in focus and actually was in color, right? Like, not that it was in black and white, but it was like you could see and it wasn't until the mom was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, he explains he's Spider-Man and all this stuff, blah blah blah. He's like, "What are you talking? Is that like the cosplay stuff?" I was dying.
Yeah.
Right? And everything. That when she's like, "Why is he not taking it?" It's like, well, when he's like about dad, and she's like, "Don't be messing around" and stuff like that. I was like, "Wait, there's something weird here," and I'm like, "Wait, the background isn't blurry," and that's when I realized. And then the uncle came through. Crap, he's not in his world.
Yeah.
I realized it a little late, but I was like, "Wait, the background isn't blurry in this world. What the heck is going on?" I was like, "Is he in the right Earth?"
That's funny because when I went there, when he said, "I'm Spider-Man," and the mom was like, I was like, "Oh, that's not his world."
Right.
Because they know who the Spider-Man is.
Right. I'm like, why don't you know?
Thing,
It was started. I'm like, what's going on? Did the mom not know who Spider-Man is?
Exactly. I think that's what tripped me out the most. I'm just like, what is mom? Is she tripping? Or does she already know and she just wanted
For a second, I thought what happened in his universe happened to what's this kid's name? I forgot. The last Spider-Man live action one.
Tom Holland?
I thought what happened in his universe was what happened in Tom Holland, where like the universe just forgot that man or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I was like, oh wait, is this happening here? And then as it kept going, it's like, wait, the background isn't blurry anymore. And and then I'm like, how did I not catch that earlier? That kind of bummed me out.
I think that's actually, I didn't even catch the blurry. What I knew, or what was crazy is they had a man that was able to travel between universes. Like basically creep up towards the house, on the opposite side of the building, peering into the window. You had Jess on the bike in the alleyways, and you had, I believe, Gwen had gotten into the house.
No, after she whooped that other Spider-Man and shot him back into the portal thing.
So she went there, and then she says that he's not there, and then I'm like, oh snap! He was caught by the Prowler and Prowler Jr.
Yeah,
Prowler nephew, maybe, I don't know what it's called. And then you just see like the braids behind Miles, and he's just like, "What are you doing?" And I'm just like, "Oh snap!" I was like, "It's a realized Miles." I was just like, "It's a realized Miles." That's what I'm talking about. But I don't know. I thought it was really cool to see a different version of Miles, but that Miles looked like he was like, I've resolved to become the Prowler.
Right.
I've resolved. And I'm like, is this Miles supposed to lose his uncle then dad's gone. You know, so in the because and then also I didn't know there was a second part to this movie. I thought it was just one movie. You went, dude. So my little cousin sent me a TikTok, and literally like the first 3 seconds is to be continued.
Right.
And then you see the Spiderverse. I was like, what? Biggest.
Man, that must have
spoiler.
sucked.
I didn't. I'm like, oh.
I knew that.
I know. I'm like, well, he probably thinks I watched it, but I can't hate on him because of that. Because I also I messed up and said a line that the Hulk said in Avengers, the first movie, and he's like, I didn't watch it, and he was like literally so sour about it, and I was just like, bro, from that, I was like, oh my gosh, I could have said so much, and it would pertain more to the story.
This is him getting his vengeance so many years later.
Yeah, he's just like, I remember. I was
Watch
like,
this. No, when we got to the end of the movie, I was like, man, this movie is supposed to be 2 hours 15 minutes long or something like that, and I'm like, it's taking a long time. It's like, I don't think there's enough time to resolve this movie. And then like you got that like final scene music playing. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be to be continued, isn't it? And then like she just like I decided on my own, and then they all go into the portal, and I was like, son of a gun. To be continued showing up, I'm like, man, this sucks.
Yeah, that was the messed. I think that's the most messed up part of it was the not knowing that it's 2 parts. I was just like, I don't know what Marvel's thinking. I was angry.
Me too. So talking about that, like, let's get into what we didn't like about the movie.
Well, you already know about the watercolors. That was just the watercolors.
Right.
I didn't like the actions that the dad took to try to get her to go to jail. Because she's like, Dad, I didn't kill Peter.
Right.
And you know, saw his daughter, and he still was gonna arrest her. I was like, you know that she wouldn't. But then again, his moral compass said,
yeah, it was strong.
Yeah. I was like, yeah. And I was just like, she should actually respect him for that, because not a lot of people would do that. There's a lot of greedy people out there that would do worse than what her dad
Kill
did.
for their kids.
Oh yeah,
in a bad way.
Yeah. He would, like, there's people that would destroy other families for their family.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so that's why it's just, I'm like, the dad did what the dad is supposed to do, in my opinion.
I get it.
I didn't like it.
No, I get it. It's like, how could you do that to your own kid? I get that. Movie wise, I enjoyed all of it. I really loved this movie. This movie was fire from the beginning. My only gripe is the to be continued. Hated that. That was my only gripe with the movie. I was like, are you kidding me? Oh no, there was no Spider Pig. What the?
He was there, wasn't he?
I didn't see. Oh, there was maybe a part where Spider Pig was there.
Yeah, when he was walking through.
I must have missed him.
Showing, yeah,
I missed him.
Because they were.
But
no,
there was
they
a
were
Spider
all
Cat.
there. His old crew was there. The Japanese girl was also
her.
The Japanese one. The Noir
Noir
one. No, is that the name of it? Noir.
Noir.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
And then you had.
Yeah, at the end when she goes into the thing, I don't remember seeing the pig, but you might be right.
Yeah.
In that case, I take it back. I just didn't see him. But really, in reality, only the to be continued was my only gripe of the entire film.
The whole film. Yeah, no, I get it. I didn't like it either, and I think that's a great reason to not like it, because I already hated it and I didn't watch the movie yet. Just saying.
Why? All right.
But if I were to give this movie a grade, I would give this an A.
Yeah. Same here. A for sure. For sure. It was just good.
It would have been an A+ if you did the whole movie once. You know what I'm saying?
Making me come out again, spending another $11 at a matinee.
You know what I'm saying?
On a very comfortable seat.
Yeah. But anyway, that's going to wrap up this episode. We're going to, don't forget to follow us on IG, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Anchor FM. You can listen to us every Monday on Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Stitcher as well. Subscribe to the YouTube channel to check out our videos, and please leave a comment below. Don't forget.
Deuces.